Hi. Hello, lovely people. That took quite a while for my computer to get rocking and rolling there for some reason. Hi, guys. Happy Sunday. I'm alive and so are you. Yes, be that beautiful star that you are. Shine so brightly. I love everyone. Um, welcome. This is also a Q&A. You can pretty much ask anything you want, as long as it's, YouTube qualifying. So this is our weekly goal for, when I do this, I should really look to see what week we're in. I don't know, it's April 10th. So like the 10th through the 17th or something. Wow, wait a minute. Yeah, what a powerful week we're about to have. The full moon, the conjunction. Oh my goodness. I guess I wasn't even thinking about that until I'm here with you. See how that works? Um, oh, wow, we are. Awesome, guys. Awesome. Well, then just bring it in. Right now, I'm having kind of a lazy, laid back Sunday. It's like the perfect weather. The sun is shining. It's making everybody real like, let's just relax, which is good, right? I'm a big, firm believer that uh, we shouldn't take life so seriously. We tend to lose the point when we do. We want to experience this life. So, as many of you know, um, the weekly goal is presented to me while I'm in the Akashic Records. I was there Thursday for myself and someone else. And which, speaking of that someone else was beloved Lisa from the podcast We're All Psychic. Her co-host Misty was on vacation, and we were talking because I did ask the records about some stuff for her, and I ended up doing a podcast with her later. It is up and posted. I'll put the link after this, after everything's up and going. I'll attach the link to it. It actually it kind of goes into what we're going to talk about today. And so follow We're All Psychic. It's a great little podcast. Lots of good interviews. Lots and lots of good interviews. I did an interview on them or with them in December about the Akashic Records. That's there as well. So so thank you, Lisa from We're All Psychic. It was a lovely time we had this past week. Let's talk about that for a minute. The that podcast really rolls into this as well. And so the morning that I was in the Akashic Records, and I also got my weekly message for here, and I think most people that have watched enough of these know that the records will give me some kind of theme, idea, story, song, something, and then I had to kind of put the pieces together. And they said for this week, because I first was like, am I even gonna do it? Because I got a lot on my plate. I guess you would say a lot of irons in the fire, which I love fire, so that's why I put a bunch of irons in there to keep it going. I'm crazy. Um, they said, yeah, Cortney, you're gonna do one. They said talk about Ragnarok, and I and I went okay. Like, so Ragnarok's a lot of many different stories, and I said what? And they said, no, we want you to focus on, because I was like, what? That's a 5-hour live program. Um, they said, no, just focus on how at the beginning of when you start reading Ragnarok, it's which for those that might not know, that is Viking mythology, let's say Norse. It's your Odin, your Thor, your Loki, your Freya, like all, those stories. Um, I think there's now a new anime, might not be new, but there's one that's based on that too. So if you're all into watching those Viking programs right now that are all over the place, that's who they're referring to. Odin, Thor, that's the Norse mythology. Um, at the beginning when you start reading it, oh, I should have grabbed the book. It's behind me somewhere. Um, it says that this is the beginning and the end. It is a story that is it's a group of stories, and it's interesting because it represents the end of the world and the beginning of the world simultaneously. And they said, focus on that. And I was like, okay, instead of going through all these stories. Um, and then they started giving me some other, to tack on to it to get the full scope of what they wanted me to talk about. And I don't even remember what they said because honestly, I went, nope, no, I'm not doing, give me something else. Nope. Give me something I at least have some recollection of what you're talking about because I'm not going to work that hard this week when I'm working hard on all these other irons in the fire. Like, you got to give me something else, guys. And they gave me song lyrics. And while I was in the records, I didn't remember who wrote it or sang it. But I knew that I knew the song pretty well. So I went, okay, I'll work with that. At least I know what you're talking about. And the song lyrics are from an old Jewel song, Pieces of You. You can look that song up. There will be a bunch of disclaimers now all over the place because the words that are in that song, we don't really say anymore, and we didn't really say them then either. The whole point of that song, I've seen Jewel. Back in the day, I saw her live. She is a singer, songwriter, storyteller, like old school stuff, man. And she's amazing. And she was making a very direct point, and we're going to talk about that today. So welcome. We're about 8 minutes in. I'm seeing if there's anybody that's going to hop on. I will be here for Q&A throughout this. And we're going to talk about 5D, fifth dimension. Because even that morning before I went into the records, I just had so much 5D in my head, 5D, 5D. Just thinking about it, I wish people would understand 5D more. And as I was in the records and they gave me the message, and I had to relook up that song because I didn't remember exactly what it was. I went, okay. And it just so happened that when I also did the podcast with Lisa, somehow it was directed into 5D as well. So we're going to be talking about that. So welcome everybody to our weekly goal for April 10th, 11th through 17th, 18th, whatever. It's all jazzy, man, because it's not like time exists anyways, Okay, let's get into it then. So, Ragnarok. I am Norse, by the way. I tell people that my mind is divine, my soul is native, but I'll tell you, these big old meat puppets, this is Viking DNA. So that's how I look at it. So I have a lot of Viking in me. And I can say that because they're my hands. I'm not picking on myself. I'm a large human being, It's okay. I don't mind being a giant. Um, so Ragnarok, when it starts, and there's so many stories, and they're so good, and they're wild. Don't get me wrong. It's like, what? You said creation was what? There's a big, there's a, they start talking about creation as, like a big bull and cow and this, and it's just wild what they talk about. But Odin, I will say that is where a whole lot, and some Celt, but it ended up being all mixed up. That's where we get a lot of concepts, and Indian beliefs, I should say, Hindu as well. Um, that's where we get a lot of the concepts of these rainbow bridges. And I will tell you, that is like we're finding like, oh, the Celts were here, like evidence, and that the Celts were here with the natives. And this is why also as generations passed, the Irish and the natives here always kind of helped each other. It's because the Celts, um, they were able to come here because they knew how to walk the rainbow bridges. I'll just put it out there like that. That is such a side note. That's why we do Q&As as well. So at the beginning of Ragnarok, they're talking about this is the end times, and also the beginning. One and the same. One and the same. And I know all of you are intelligent enough to understand the concept that you can't have one without the other. You can't. You can't have a beginning unless something ended. You just literally can't. It's the balance and harmony of the cosmos. It's cause and effect. You can't, it's the law of cause and effect, as we're studying in other videos here. Right now, 2022, my dear beloveds, the energies that are presented, and unfortunately, April is high anxiety energy. Okay, let's breathe through it. We breathe through it. There's tons of meditations at starsofthemorninglight.com. You can do them and just breathe through it. But all of the energy that is presented and different forms of it, like I said, April's a whole lot of anxiety for people, for various different reasons. But all of them are here in 2022. That if you are willing and you have a desire to, and you're open to it, you are able to fully anchor yourself into the 5D dimension, the 5D reality, really, for some of us that have anchored. I, like tons of millions of other people right now, which I will say a lot of people in April are feeling and experiencing what would be like out of body experiences. Like, you're walking around, you're doing stuff, but they're dropping a lot of things. So if you're dropping stuff, it's okay. It's a phase, it'll pass. But it's because a lot of spirit souls, the essence of you, is flowing in and out of 3D, the plane that we've experienced it over and over and over again. Go to one of the, I think literally the first video talks all about 3D. Right now, a lot of people are kind of flowing in and out of 3D and 5D. I personally, I was doing that for a good, I was going in and out of 3D, 5D, knowing there's a 7D. I've been there. I wasn't, I'm not fully there yet. I've been there. So I started flowing through a lot of, a ton of them. I didn't fully anchor. And I mean anchor as in I just don't, I know 3D exists. I know there's a lot happening. My love and care for it is still there. but it is not at all a part of my senses. But I did not fully anchor, like I said, until this past spring equinox. That's when I fully anchored, and it was like, whoa. Those energies here on the planet right now are available for everyone to do so. If you choose to, you have a choice. You have a choice. You can anchor into 5D. You don't have to anchor into 5D. It's your choice. I suggest you do, though. It's way better, but it's still your choice. You can still be moving back and forth. I know and we're gonna talk about that for a minute. Many of my loved ones, they are moving in and out still, which is beautiful and wonderful. Because one of the aspects, the main aspect of 5D is that judgment does not live there. Everything is neutral. Everything is neutrality. Everything is, it is what it is. It is what it is. And that's nice to, like I said, have all of your senses attached to that. Another aspect of 5D is manifestation. Instant manifestation. If you have a particular goal, if you have a desire, even though we got to check our desires, remember from a different video, if you have, especially if your manifestations are for the betterment of yourself and all involved, you can manifest them. If you're interested in learning even more about manifesting, I do have a course that before I put it out onto Udemy, where you're going to spend like $100, I'm doing a 4-hour like Zoom course May 22nd for moon manifesting. You can always join that way for like half the price that you're going to pay for doing it on Udemy. But in 5D, it's possible. 5D is where you really start living the dream. You really start living your true, authentic self. You really, and it's without judgment, because you've already crossed through and learned and grew enough self-compassion and compassion for others that when you anchor into 5D, judgment is not there. Everything is what it is. It's the sea of neutrality, as beautiful master teachers down in Ecuador teach. I believe their site is officialshriankira.com. I'm very picky about my teachers, but I follow them. Right now, you can do that. I would say over the next during this week, that is a part of the weekly goal, is to even wrap your head around that. Wrap your head around right now, and most of 2022, we are at this moment that it's the beginning and the end. It's the end and the beginning. And unfortunately, so many people only focus on the end, when the both happen simultaneously. So it's perspective. I'm asking this week that we all look at the perspective here. Do I want to see it in the 3D light of that, or actually the 3D fog that we were in, that it's the end? Or do I want to maybe feel more compassion for myself and others, and know that it's like, okay, this 5D is an opportunity that I can grasp, that I have all the potential in the world to anchor myself into. a place, a mindset. Like I said, all of your senses are in when they're in 5D. Judgment is not there. Manifestation is there. Everything starts looking different. Are you aware of 3D? Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. How you perceive 3D is vastly different. That opportunity is here. At the same time, there's this weekly goal is a little bit of a two-parter. Like I said, they gave me a Jewel song to which she was gosh, if you guys don't know, okay, mid 90s to early 2000s, she was really big. It's interesting if there's any other 90s people out there. That was, kind of I was in high school in the 90s, so that's when, you get so much influence. And we were a very angry generation. And there's tons of statistics out now. I am the end cap of the Gen Xers, and that end cap were very angry. And you can completely see, I always tell people, and research it if you want, you can completely see why if you look at Woodstock of 69 and Woodstock of 99 and the differences there, even though there were deaths in 69 too. But if you look at the differences in there is why we were so pissed off in the 90s. So for some reason, I tell people that I'm like, use that comparison if you don't get it. If you don't feel like doing the research, into all these statistics, but that'll teach you, that'll show you right there. Yeah, we were pissed off. So at the same time, all these singer-songwriters that were wonderful, were writing songs that either were very harsh in your face about what was going on, or like Jewel did, she wrote amazing music that also talked about what was going on. And the song that this is referencing to is Pieces of You. And it is a play on how when we judge others, we really need to put that mirror up to our face. When we're talking about others, there's that saying, if you're pointing your finger at somebody else, there's 3 pointing back at you. If we still have a bunch of judgment about people, places, and things, because that's how it works, people, places, and things, if we still have a whole lot of judgment about it, let's put that mirror up to our face. Because there's something within that judgment that is a reflection of you. And that's what that song was saying. And she wrote it beautifully. The words, though, definitely are not used in today's society at all. And she wrote it for that reason. I mean, if you really listen and get past the ugly words that are used, it's a deep song. And it is that aspect of, do you hate this person or have judgments on this person because they actually have pieces of you in them? They have that. Are you holding that mirror up, or are you not? And you're just in judgment. So I guess that would be, in essence, what our weekly goal is. And I say, and I did this years ago, and this is not a like an overnight thing. This is not an overnight, I don't judge anybody no more. That's not not a quick fix, let me tell you. Because once we actually start looking at this stuff, wrapping our mind around how much judgment we actually have is so sad. We human beings, we definitely who are in the 3D world, this is a social nature versus nurture, all of it encompassing. We are programmed to judge each other. We are programmed to compare ourselves to others, or compare other people, places, and things to other people, places, and things. That's what we do. And so when we actually start looking at it, every time we have a thought, that we can catch it and be like, whoa, that's a judgment. And we start noticing that, if we can start catching them, whoa, that was a judgment. Whoa, that was a judgment. Whoa, that was a judgment. We will be amazed how much that's in our head. Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying. This is not an overnight thing. But let's start doing that. Let's start at least recognizing, whoa, that was a judgment. And then once you recognize it, you can say, I reject that. Or you can wrap your head around, why am I? Hold that mirror up to yourself. Why did I just make that judgment? Does that person, place, and thing even have anything to do with me? If not, then say, okay, I'm not judging that anymore. It has nothing to do with me. Not everything has to do with you. Not everything has to do with me. If you have this intuition, this feeling that, oh man, I'm judging that person because of X, Y, and Z, and you feel very passionately about that, I suggest you hold that mirror up to your face and think, is there any of that within me? This is some very deep shadow work stuff that we do over and over and over again. There's many a times that I, in my life, would be talking mad smack about somebody, and then like 2 hours later, I'd be like, oh my goodness. You can't fault them. You do the same damn thing, Cortney. Right. So, but it's so much easier, and we're programmed to just point the finger. I'm just pointing the finger. Right. And not take any responsibility for ourselves now, is it? Right. And beloveds, I'm saying this because the opportunity to step out of that, the freedom, oh my gosh, the freedom that one can experience when we fully step out of judgment and anchor ourselves into 5D is absolutely amazing. To truly feel and accept it is what it is absolutely amazing. And it's a process, though. And it starts with having compassion for yourself and others. It's so interesting that we toss around the cliche of walk a mile in someone else's shoes. That is truly the only way to understand somebody else's story. So instead of judging, we need to have compassion for them and ourselves. And even if you can't walk a mile in their shoes, if you're judging them harshly, you got to put that mirror up and say, is there any elements to what I'm calling them out within me? You don't know until you know. And I really do mean it's going to be wild if you just for this week. So weekly goal 1 is to at least acknowledge the fact that 5D is present and available for you. That's it. 2 2 is begin to recognize, catch them, catch these thoughts. You can catch your thoughts. You can, whoa, what did I just think? You can catch your thoughts, and if they are of judgment, release them, get rid of them, reject them. If they are judgment of just standard judgment that we all seem to have, why does this cost this? I ain't gonna pay no $5 for this. Why is this like that? Why is that da 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 da? Right? Standard judgment. When we have that, get rid of it. That's people, places, and things. Doesn't even have nothing to do with you. Right? If it's a people, place, or thing that we do have some kind of connection to, or we're judging extremely harshly, their character, their lifestyle, whatever, we got to put that mirror up to our face. But all we got to do this week for 2, so 1 is recognizing that 5D is available. Instant manifestation, live the life you deserve, your authentic dreams, and without judgment, it is what it is. 5D is amazing. Freedom there. Freedom, freedom, freedom. We actually talk about that in many of these early videos about how 5D, the 5th cycle, pardon me, when we're referencing Thoth, the Emerald Tablets, releases you from the bondage, releases us from the bondage. Well, I'm going to tell you, I feel it, man. It's in my senses. Yes, I am released from bondage. Which honestly, I don't even judge the bondage anymore. I'm like, yeah, okay, because it is what it is, So 2nd, catch your thoughts. Just catch them. Just catch them right now. And you decide what you should do with them, because you do know what to do, what to keep and what to let go of. And you most likely, as I and many that I know, were astonished. We're astonished just in 24 hours how many times I judged in my head. Like, whoa. You will be astonished. We spend so much time doing that. So much time doing that. When that time could be reserved for creativity, manifesting, loving, creating. I mean, it's service. So we spend a lot of time. So that's our goal, is to just recognize. Maybe I should have named this recognize. Y'all better recognize. Maybe I should have named it that. This episode is to just recognize that 5D is available to you, and notice how many judgmental thoughts are in your head. Because it is the beginning and the end. Pardon me. And we can't take it with us. And there's so much talk out there about the new earth. And I talk a lot about it on that podcast, We're All Psychic. It just happened to flow out of Cortney. If you really want to know something about that, please check it out. Shout out to Lisa and Misty from We're All Psychic. That new earth that everybody talks about, that is not here in the 3D. It is not. It's not here in the 3D, period. And the beginning of the new earth, it is 5D and above. It cannot be in 3D because 3D is bondage. We've talked about it many a times over. It's the fog, it's the forgetfulness, it's the bondage. But we also talked about how 5D frees us from that, right? Beginning and the end. Because see how everybody is kind of moving in and out of it. I'm in 3D. Woo, then I feel a little bit of 5D. Woo, then I'm in 3D. And it's because we're still walking on this 3D plane in a way. And so, like I said, our senses still are paying the bills, still trying to get about, still, I mean, the struggle's still real, right? And all of the stuff happening in 3D. So, but then we have these moments, these glimpses, these moments of feeling either in a meditation or in quiet or in a really good conversation, whatever it may be. We have these moments, or even like I said, many, especially in April, are kind of walking around and they're dropping stuff because they just feel like they're out of their body. Where do you think you're going? You're not going to Mars, you're going to 5D. And then you're coming back. So a lot of people are traveling back and forth, the beginning and the end and the beginning. Everything is flow. Everything is rhythm. We're going to talk about it in the Hermetic principles as we keep moving through them. Everything's cause and effect. Everything's rhythm. Everything's got a flow, man. And right now, everybody's flowing in and out. But you can anchor if you choose to. And the best way to start is to really notice how much judgment still lives within you. It's rough. It's rough. And I am not saying you have to clear out all judgment in order to anchor into 5D, because I don't believe I did. I believe I still had my moments. It's interesting because I am very much a warrior, but I choose to, if and when that actually needs to be used. So I'm kind of that spiritual warrior who became a spiritual healer teacher. But don't think that warrior is not in me. Do not think that. I know my power. And many of you will also understand and know your power the more you let go of judgment of others and comparing yourself to them. So I had my moments. Even reaching towards when I finally did anchor into 5D, I had my moments. Don't get me wrong. But I don't live in it. And all the little minutia thoughts, all the little judgments that weren't even mine, they're just handed to me, weren't even mine, got rid of them. Yeah. Here's the thing. If anything, ladies and gentlemen, beloveds, if anything, that concept of get rid of what no longer serves you, judgment does not serve you. Same for me, same for everybody else. And I am all about getting rid of what no longer serves us to make room for what does. And that is what's needed for the beginning and the end and the beginning. Make room within you and around you by just recognizing right now how much clutter is actually present, so you can eventually make that anchoring position of freedom within 5D. You all are so beautiful. So beautiful. I will most likely, when this is up and posted and everything's good, I will put a link to that moon manifesting course happening in May. It's only going to be like a 4-hour course or so. 25 years of knowledge is going to be given to you. A lot of do's and don'ts. that I'm going to give you guys a lot of info of my journey over 25 years. Yeah, it's been since 1997 that I've been communicating with the moon. Um, and learning. Yeah. So, and I have a great relationship with the moon. Um, so that will be available. I'll also put the link to that podcast, We're All Psychic. I also, this Thursday, the 14th, will be on R. Wayne Steger's YouTube channel talking about some fascinating stuff, more from Toth, who's the dweller, possibly. And so he is in my channels. I would subscribe. There's a soul tribe movement happening there, folks, that is amazing. And what else? That might be it. If you are interested and you've watched this all the way to the end, thank you very much. I am Cortney from Stars of the Morning Light. You can go to starsofthemorninglight.com and get all these resources, free blogs, free meditations, all sorts of stuff. I also am doing a summer Akashic Records program. You have to go through this program, and it's a certified program. You have to go through the program. It's 4 workshops divided up between April 11th. Oh, I'm sorry. April 30th. I apologize there. April 30th and September. Okay. It's because it takes time. You got to practice to get to the records. But I'm going to give you all the tools you need. I'm going to, there's a lot. And it's priced very well. And you also get 6 free training sessions with me privately. So it's $200 each workshop, $800 total. That is the prerequisite to become a practitioner, which is one massive workshop, probably in November-ish. Maybe further down the line, depending on what happens. I'm only taking 6 people, guys. I'm only now I'm only taking 5. So get on there. Go to starsofthemorninglight.com. Go to, I believe, classes and register. Register for your spot for the summer program, Akashic Records 1. You're going to want to do it. And I will walk you through, and I will never drop you. I will always be holding you through the process. Okay? So, my beloveds, have a delightful, wonderful week. This week is going to be rocking and rolling. It's going to be up and down, beginning and end and beginning. It's going to be wild. Flow, flow, flow. Just flow. Okay? Just flow with it. And I will always say, if you don't know what to do, dance, and you'll find your groove. I love you all. Have a great week, and I will be with you again soon. Namaste.